Josh Pate says this is the most talented Oregon team that he's ever had.
Yeah.
In UG. Dan Lanning, that is. The most talented team he's had. He's going into year 4. This is the most talented team he's had. It's an interesting takeaway because they are, I think to a certain extent, like I'm going to joke about nobody's giving them a chance. This is a team that is a little bit flying under the radar going into the year.
Are they?
I think so. Like I think Penn State's the easy favorite in the Big Ten. Oregon, I believe, is 3rd in odds to win the conference coming into the year.
I don't think they are an easy favorite, but I think they're one of the top 2.
Sure, and I'm not saying an easy pick, but I'm just in terms of like the overwhelming favorite in Vegas.
Are they still?
I think they're a plus 200 to win the conference.
Look it up.
Ohio State's slightly behind them, and then Oregon's. There's a big drop off after Oregon. That much I know in terms of conference title odds.
Ohio State's plus 210, and Penn State is plus 250.
Okay, so Ohio State's now the favorite to win the Big Ten. When did that happen?
Oregon is behind. Well, I think people are coming in on the bets, and then Oregon's plus 300. So
plus 300,
okay. Penn State.
But they feel very good about their team down there. And here is Dan Lanning from yesterday. I think one of the things you're always curious about early in a season, we can talk more about this next week, but I was curious to get his answer on it. Somebody asked him about the idea of playing true freshman. Decorian Moore, we all know he's going to play at wide receiver. Now, how good will he be? That's a question mark. How many of the other freshmen will play?
Yeah, I definitely think you will. It's a group that's gotten a lot of opportunities, right? But the way we practice, what we do, it gives those guys an opportunity to go get involved and get on the field if they know their job. And I'll say this group is a group of perfectionists. They want to be right. They want to be great. They get frustrated when they mess up, and they got to realize that that's part of the process. It happens, right? As a freshman, you don't make every single play, but can you learn from those mistakes? That's the key. And I think you'll definitely see some out there making an impact for us this season.
Hey, freshmen expected to play right away. They feel good about what I've heard. Their guys in the secondary could play. They feel great about their freshman running back, Dier Hill. Like, there's a lot of young guys that are turning heads in camp that might have big roles this season.
There's a benefit to it, and there's an aspect that I think a coaching staff would never admit out loud, right? There's going to be learning curves.
Without a doubt.
And so whether that's week 4 when you go to Happy Valley and you play Penn State and you mention a freshman DB, maybe he goes out there and gets absolutely roasted and you're like, damn, dude, bad start for this 4 or 5-star kid. But that doesn't mean by week 10 he's not learned a lot of different tricks of the trade and talked to coaches and watched enough film. But the other part of me kind of always lies in you're probably going to have more errors, I think, than quality. It's just hard for true freshmen to go in there. So I think there's a benefit to it for Lanning that if he keeps these kids, they don't hop into the portal. Yeah, man, by next year, a lot of those guys, if they get the reps, you're going to feel better than just saying, oh, they're sophomores. You're going to feel like that experience is heavier than that.
Well, and I think that connects to Pate's point of a team that might be able to scale up as the year goes on because there is so much inexperience and youth on this roster that they might early in the season not be the same team that they are late in the season because of all the experience that they'll get throughout the course of the year.
Well, last year, I mean, being historic and doing what they did year 1 Big Ten, like I listened to Bartu on Harrison and Meringue, and he said something that was interesting of their start. So a big indicator in weeks 0, 1, 2, whatever. So they play a lot of teams play patsies. Oregon's playing Montana State, right?
Yeah, week 1.
He basically is just pointing out point differential and saying, yeah, the game might not be important on paper, but if Oregon barely beats Montana State, Oregon's bucked a trend last year that largely doesn't happen. Teams that start out and barely beat Idaho at home, historically speaking, that team ends up being like 8-4 or 9-3 or 7-5. They get over the hump with their talent, but they largely aren't amazing. And so they kind of did the opposite. You're supposed to, if you're elite,
you come out and kick the crap out of some FCS school in week 1.
You beat the bloody hell out of them. Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe they will this year. We'll have to wait and see a little more than a week away from that. I did find one other thing interesting. I'll play this one quickly because on that point, Oregon got off to a really slow start last year. And I thought it was a good question of, like, as a coach and you're going through fall camp, like, can you correctly gauge where your team's at? Because you're only practicing against yourself. And then you got to turn around and go play a game about, is this team ready to go play?
Yeah, that's always hard for me. I don't know that I've ever felt like if you ask me, hey, can you have 3 more weeks of practice to get ready, would you take it? And I think I'd always take it, right? Even in this moment now. But I am really happy about the progress of day 1 to where we're at right now. And there's been, I haven't ever felt like we had in fall camp this day, man, I wish we could have that day back. That was a waste. We didn't get better. I feel like this group's gotten better every single day. So from that standpoint, I'm excited. Would I love to have 3 more weeks to get prepared for game 1? Absolutely. But these guys are also ready to go hit somebody else, right? And that's the hard part about college football is you're You don't have the inter squad scrimmages with other teams. You don't do that. You don't experience that. So you're hitting the same guys every single day, and they're ready to hit somebody else.
I'd love to see that in college football. We did that in the spring. Was it Clemson or not Clemson? Excuse me, Colorado and Syracuse that were going to play
wanted
the spring
to
game.
do a joint practice and then do like a scrimmage game.
Dude, give me some inter squad scrimmages. It would be great. You don't need to televise them, but just to gauge where your team's at and let them hit somebody else for a day or two.
Oh, I thought it was
nice.
cool watching Hard Knocks. The Bills did that against the Bears, and you got like a glimpse, and you had like one of the offensive linemen for the Bills was going up and basically dabbing up the D lineman, like, let's get better. Let's all get better.
Yeah, let's get work together.
He basically was like, dude, like, do this, this, this. Ask me anytime, any question. He joked, he's like, we're all workers for the NFL. We're all employees. Do you think I'm wrong on this? I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, and I've listened to his press conferences. Maybe I'm just misremembering and I'm allowing a floating duck to have this thought. Does it feel like he is toned down just a smidge from being super out in the open with comment guy, and maybe last year the way it ended was obviously it's always humbling to get blown out, right? There's an element as a coach, you probably walk away and you look in a mirror and you're like, what did I not do right here?
Sure.
I know he did the Bussin' with the Boys interview a few months ago in the offseason.
Yeah, that was during spring ball.
Yeah, I thought his Big Ten Media Day was very toned down compared to last year's. Like, we're mighty different, right? And like, I don't know. There's an element to this team, you say under the radar. I don't know if I agree with that fully, but there is an element that I wonder if he is trying to kind of fly, just do his thing, and let's go on the field and just talk that way. Not that he's like an overly braggadocious person, but he's pretty out. He'll give his opinion on stuff.
He will.
So I don't know if I'm like clouded by the duck in the river and a couple riots, but it feels like this year, camp, Big Ten Media Day, and the hype that Penn State's getting in Texas and some of these other, it just kind of feels like he's, okay, you know what I'm going to do this year? I'm going to kind of lie in the weeds. I'll still be myself, and let's play football.
Yeah, I would say I think the take is correct on the stance of the program. I don't know how much it connects to Lanning, though. That's the hard part I have with it, right? Like, the duck in the river, I don't think Dan Lanning had anything to do with it.
No,
so, like, that was a big marketing. We're in a Big Ten. We're like, hey, we're here. Like, that's something the Oregon athletic department and marketing department will do.
But he likes that attention.
I think he does from time to time. Like,
means.
I think for them, it's more about, and I can't remember who told us this. Maybe it was Tyson one time we interviewed him, but I thought it was perfectly put of like, Oregon picks and chooses their spots. They don't do it every year. Like 2 years ago, the big thing going into the season was, remember the billboards that were all over the place for Bo Nix for his Heisman candidacy?
Right.
Like, you don't have, like, you're not doing that for Dante Moore, right? Like, you don't really have a player. If Dante Moore has a great year and then comes back next year and is going into the year as an odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, I guarantee you they will have billboards everywhere of Dante Moore, the way they did Nix and the way that they did Joey Harrington back in the day. I think a lot of it is circumstantial, and I think it's also different when you're going into year one of a new conference where you're like trying to educate people about your we're mighty different, right? Like there's that kind of stuff.
But you're Oregon.
Now, I know, but now you're there, you won the conference, so it's like, we're here, you know who we are, we won the damn thing in year one, so I don't need to do any of that stuff
and I agree with the whole like advertising marketing ploy stuff. Like Lanning's not sitting in an office thinking of that. He's football guy, right? But I mean, I don't know about you. I'm not a Duck fan. I was stunned. They did zero. They were in Vegas this year.
Yeah, they did nothing.
We thought the Sphere would be a Duck hat. Yeah. Something would
Wondered what they would do.
And I'm almost just wondering if he really loves you. Asked Pate basically that the scuttle is that they love this talent.
Yes.
But it's not as loud. And there's no Dylan Gabriel. It's Dante, right? We haven't seen Dante in a couple years. I just wonder if there's a little bit to we fly right under some of these radars.
I mean, remember the quote he gave to Heather Dinich at Big Ten Media Day? He was like, we like being I can't remember, silent assassin or whatever the quote was.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's part of him, too, that's tying that into his season-long message to his team. Look at Penn State, the favorite. Hey, who beat Penn State in the Big Ten title game last year?
Right.
You know, Ohio State
too.
lost all this.
Right.
Their odds are better than you. How many people are leaving Oregon? Like, Bruce Feldman didn't pick Oregon to go to the playoff. He thinks they lose 3 conference games. Like
At Washington.
Like, he's going to find those little areas that he can get, motivate his roster. Last one here, and then we'll go to a couple other college football notes, including a coach doing something that I find puzzling.
Sure.
This is on the notion of there's a lot of talent, but it's inexperience, and Lanning said he's fine with that. Give me that every day.
I mean, this team has grown. I think, early in the offseason, I was talking about where's the leadership going to come from. There's a lack of experience, but I would always give me talented players over guys that have a ton of experience that aren't talented. So we have talented players that maybe don't have as much experience, but in this last month of practice, they've gotten a lot of experience. Over the summer, they've gotten a lot of experience. And then we've seen leadership show up. So that gives me a level of confidence going in this season with, the group that we have.
Give me talent over players who are bad but have experience.
What's the adage we've heard in college football forever?
Jimmies and Joes?
Jimmies and Joes, buddy. Jimmies and Joes.
Gotta have those Jimmies and Joes. I'm Jones, and man, can't wait. One day closer, thankfully, to the season finally kicking off.
Well,
and no more of these season preview segments that we'll probably do 5 more times next week.
I hear you, but also we have all next week.
I know.
Week 0 is...
Screw you, week 0.
She's kind of a nasty bitch.
She is. I want real football. We get real football, but I want more real football this week. What are we doing?